On today's TCE Trim, the Moneyline Mac Top 25 and reactions to the AP Top 25 edition of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Use that sign-up promo code TCESGPN to get a 50% deposit up to $1,000. That is the Underdog Fantasy promo code TCESGPN. And we're also brought to you by Rhythm. Start crushing college football and NFL with Rhythm. Get your 7-day free trial today by going over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That is the sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM today. Welcome, everybody, into the college basketball experience. Daytime action talking top 25. They just released the first AP poll of the year outside of the preseason poll, and I will react to it. And also, I will be breaking down my rankings that I tweeted out last night. We can debate, we can have a good conversation, but just wanted to fire away here and talk some basketball. Day basketball. We got action starting in a couple hours with Air Force and the Long Island Shocks. So can't wait for that. And of course, we'll be back 6 o'clock on the pregame show and the pick show tonight. First, I probably should introduce who's talking to you on this show. I am Moneyline Mac, aka the former video coordinator for Bob Huggins and Frank Martin. Also known as Mac Tonight over here at the College Experience. And you know how we view the AP poll. First off, I think it's a load of shit. But I thought it'd be good to just break down where maybe the public narrative is on some of these teams versus what they actually did. So I thought this would be a good exercise and give us some good day content. So as of 2 minutes ago, they just released the poll. So, yes, I apologize. I set it for 12 o'clock. Noon Eastern, because I thought the poll would be out by noon, but it didn't get released till 1 o'clock. Here we go. Pulling it up now. The Jayhawks remained at number one. They beat Carolina. Other than that, they had a solid week. Alabama comes in at number 2, UConn at number 3, and then the two teams that probably had the most impressive weeks, Gonzaga and Auburn at 4 and 5, Duke at 6, Iowa State at 7. Houston dropped down to 8 after the loss to Auburn. Arizona at 9, Carolina at 10 with the loss at the PHOG. Tennessee with the big win at Louisville is 11. Baylor at 12. Purdue 13. Creighton 14. Marquette 15. And then you got the Indiana Hoosiers at 16. Cincinnati Bearcats at 17. Somehow Arkansas is at 18. I don't know what they did to warrant that, but hey. And they're one spot ahead of Calipari's former stop, Kentucky at 19. Florida at 20, Ohio State 21, St. John's and Rick Pitino at 22, the Buzzsaw 23 with A&M, Rutgers 24, and Ole Miss 25. So, first reaction, just breaking it down by conferences. This is a all-high major top 25. No surprise here, unfortunately, for some of these mid-majors. But yeah, I think that they didn't really change much based off of what happened with the first week. You could make an argument maybe that they should have reacted a little bit more, but the AP poll, I think, is more a biased towards their big schools, how they go about their poll system. But let's dive into mine, because I think mine is more accurate. Shocker. Where we go? There we go. Let me put myself up here. You guys see me? Let's go right here. We'll go with this one. So I had Auburn at number 1. I think Auburn earned the right to be number 1 in the poll after the week that they had, beating the shit out of a good quality Vermont team. I think that warrants being number one. I had Gonzaga at number two. They had the most impressive win of the week in terms of style points, beating Baylor by 40+. I know they were a little bit of a sleep at the wheel against Arizona State last night. So they were number two for me. I knocked Kansas down a couple spots just because defensively they don't look as good, and I didn't think that they looked as impressive as Auburn and Gonzaga. But I could see why they kept Kansas at number one, because they did not lose. I had UConn and Duke at 4 and 5. They haven't played anybody. They played Cupcake City. We're going to find out a lot about them over the next couple weeks. Duke playing Kentucky tomorrow, so at least we'll get a little bit of a sample size. I kept Alabama at 6. I knew Arkansas State would give them fits with Hodgson working for Nate Oates. I'm not going to knock them down too much. Houston at 7. Some may say I may have overreacted to one loss, but I was a little concerned how they finished the game without Jamal Shedd. So I want to see how they go forward, trying to finish games without their go-to guy. They're still trying to find their identity offensively, in my opinion. Iowa State 8. I mean, they didn't play anybody. They played Mississippi Valley, won by 1,000. Same with Arizona. They average margin of victory by about 70 points, it felt like. Tennessee cracks into my top 10 after that great win at Louisville. I thought they were super impressive. They weren't good in the opener, but hey, you go into Louisville, you punch them in the mouth, you crack my top 10. Carolina, I actually thought looked all right at the PHOG on Friday night. They were able to hang in there at the hardest venue to play in college basketball, so they come in at 11. Purdue's at 12. I had them at 12 in the preseason. They didn't do anything to move up or move anything to go down. I don't know how good they are, but I think they're just solid, so I keep them at number 12. St. John's jumps up to 13 for me. I like what I see from this backcourt. I trust Pitino. I know they were a little bit asleep at the wheel the other night in the first half against Quinnipiac, but impressed by them in the second half. I think their ceiling's really high. Texas Tech at 14. I like their vets. I think this is a really good Grant McCaslin team. Cincinnati at 15. Echo everything I just said about Texas Tech with Cincinnati. I think both those teams are really good Tier 2 Big 12 teams. Baylor, I did knock a little bit. I know they beat Arkansas, but I'm concerned about them defensively. I know Scott Drew went to the zone, so let's see how they progress over the final weeks of the non-con. But I couldn't knock them out of the top 20 just because they lost to Gonzaga, because some of these other teams played Cupcake City and they had the balls to go to Gonzaga and then play Arkansas in the same week to start the season. So I give Scott Drew and company a lot of credit for not being scared to schedule right away off the bat. Marquette and Creighton at 17, 18, they looked okay. They both were pushed in bye games. So I'll keep them in that teen range. I think they at least they look better than a lot of the other Big East teams, but I don't know if they're as good as St. John's and UConn right now. The Buckeyes enter my top 25 for the first time at number 19. They were impressive at not at Texas, but against Texas in Vegas. I think Diebler's doing a good job there. I like their portal additions, and they continue the momentum from last year. Indiana and Illinois, they played Cupcake City, but I had them in around that 20 to 22 mark. No reason to mess with them. I mean, they took care of business. They won by 20 to 30. So I got the Hoosiers and Illini, who look to be NCAA tournament teams early. Obviously, still a lot of games. Kentucky fans, you made it in. I was actually pretty impressed with Kentucky in terms of them offensively. Bucknell's not a bad team. I'm not saying that they're like Vermont, like Auburn did to them, but I would say Bucknell's a quality opponent out of the Patriot League. They were able to put up 100+ back-to-back games against Wright State and Bucknell. So Mark Pope and company, we'll see. They could skyrocket in this list if they're able to beat the Dukies tomorrow night. But I like what I see from Kentucky offensively. I got the Gators. I know there's a lot of distractions with Todd Golden, the stuff off the floor, but I really like their guards offensively. So I kept them at 23. 24, I got Izzo and Sparty. They haven't done anything to warrant being out of the top 25. I had them at 25. Like Kentucky, they're going to have an opportunity to prove themselves and skyrocket up these rankings tomorrow night when they take on the Kansas Jayhawks in Atlanta. And then at number 25, baby, the team of the week in America, the North Florida Ospreys. Coach Matt Driscoll and company go to South Carolina. They go to Georgia Tech. They win 2 bye games, and they beat the shit out of Charleston Southern. So they got to be – if that's where I'm saying that the polls are biased. How can North Florida not be in the top 25 after the week they had? You have to at least put them in your top 25 if you're serious about having a AP top 25. I'm going to look up. I didn't take a look at this real quick. Who were the teams that were receiving votes? Pulling that up right now as we speak. I don't know if they updated it. Here we go. Illinois was on the outside looking in. No, I know this was preseason poll, so they haven't even updated the website on who the next teams were out. But that's my top 25. Real quick before I interact with you guys in the chat, throw out some questions, debate who we think's higher, lower. Put your thoughts in the chat. Who you think I underseeded, who I overseeded, and let's have a discussion. But first, I need everybody to do a favor. You guys have gotten us into the top 50 on Spotify and Apple. Get on over there and leave us a 5-star. We top 50 is nice among all sports podcasts. That's a good start. I mean, we're up there with some of the big corporate guys, and it's good to be in that company. But you know me, man. I don't get satisfied just being at the dance. I want to win the fucking thing. So get on over there, leave a 5-star, leave a comment, tell us how much you love the show, and we will keep bringing you the content you guys deserve in college hoops every single night of the year. Pick show in the evening, pregame show on the weekdays, and on Saturday with Colby. And now we're adding this segment and a couple other segments that we're going to be adding. The only way we can keep adding segments to this show to give you guys more content is you guys getting over there to Spotify and Apple, specifically Spotify, and leaving us a 5-star review. And it help us grow the show so we can help you. And get on over there and subscribe on YouTube as well. Help us help you. Tell a friend, tell your mother, tell everybody, and tell 10 friends. The college basketball experience, really appreciate it. And we're also brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Use that promo code TCE SGPN to claim your special pick and first-time deposit offer up to $1,000 bonus in cash. Underdog Fantasy, promo code TCE SGPN. Stay tuned on Underdog. We will be giving out an Underdog entry tonight. It is Monday, so it is everybody's favorite trio of me, Troy, and Cannabis Capper. And then we got Trevor and Nick coming on later in the week. We got Michael Huffer coming on later in the week. So yeah, we got a whole army over here at the college basketball experience. So get on over there. Underdog Fantasy, promo code TCE SGPN. All righty, we are back. Was that the one I had earlier? No, that was the one. Let's go to the chat. Shout out to the chat. You guys are alive and well on a Monday, ready for daytime on Veterans Day. Air Force Smash Spot. Yes, I have Air Force, Robert Martin. Trevor says he doesn't think St. John's is a top 25 team. They got the pieces. They look amazing. It happened to everything. Make everything against Quinnipiac. I like St. John's. I have them in my Final Four, so maybe I'm a little preseason bias, but I like their guards. Obviously, I like Patino, and I think they're going to get better and better. And I just think that their ceiling is extremely high, and they haven't done anything to knock for me in the rankings. Looking ahead at their schedule, this is a good opportunity also to foreshadow who we got in the rankings. The Johnnies got New Mexico on Sunday, so if New Mexico is able to go to St. John's, they're going to be in my top 25 on Sunday night. So, can't wait for that. Rob Donaldson says overranked UConn and St. John's. I don't disagree on UConn, but they won back-to-back national championships. They've won by 40 in both games. I don't think that they're really a top 5 team. But until they lose, I'm not going to knock them out of my top 5. So Tennessee underranked, maybe, or is Louisville not good? That's the other thing where I don't want to overreact to Louisville. Maybe we crown Louisville a tad too early, in my opinion. So I think it's perfect spot for Rick Barnes at number 10 and company. Where are we at? Michael Fincher, Big East is going to get a lot better over the next couple of weeks. Well, they fucking better because they couldn't have had a worse. They couldn't have had a worse start to the year with bye game losses by Butler, Villanova, Seton Hall. They are by far in first place of losing bye games, which is concerning. And everybody says I hate the ACC. But the reason I was killing the ACC over the last couple of years is because they lost a bunch of bye games like this too. Now, the ACC did lose a bye game yesterday, Georgia Tech losing to North Florida, but Louisville, Notre Dame, and whoever else, there were a couple of Georgia Tech, they all lost multiple bye games, which hurts your league. That's why the Big 12 and SEC are able to stay up top in the rankings. It's not because they're manipulating the net or whatever the stupid ass saying that everybody says. It's because they win by 30-40 and they don't fuck around in these bye games. When you fuck around in these bye games, it hurts your league as a whole, and your wins aren't as quality come January and February, which ultimately gets you to March. The Mountain West did a great job last year of taking care of business. Now, they ultimately didn't have a good tournament, but that doesn't mean that they didn't deserve the 6 bids. They earned it over a 5-month sample size. So the Big East needs to win some big games here because they have put themselves definitely in a hole. Jeff Sharp says Montana State, South Dakota State should be ranked. I wouldn't say Montana State. They lost to Wisconsin, but South Dakota State had a hell of a week, beating McNeese. And then they beat They beat Long Beach the other day. They were my Summit team of the week when I was firing off those tweets last night. Robert wants Creighton out of there. I know they were bad, but I still think that their roster is a top 15 roster, and they didn't lose. So I'm going to keep them in my top 25. I think 18 is a perfect spot for them. Happy medium. It's Eric says, yeah, I told you I'm not a Kentucky hater. I got you guys at 22. Now, if you beat Duke tomorrow, you're going to be top 10. I will promise you that. I love Mark Pope. Yeah, Michael Fincher, Arkansas too high. Yeah, they're not even in my top 25. I don't know what Arkansas did last week to warrant them being in the top 25. They lost, and it was a 4-point game against Lipscomb with 12 minutes to go. I mean, Lipscomb's a good team, but in my opinion, I don't think that warrants that ranking. So Trevor thinks Kansas is going to drop from 1 when they lose Izzo. I don't think they're going to lose Izzo, but if they do, yeah, they're definitely out of it. Ryan Hasey, he's in shambles about the Big East. He's a big East guy. What else do we got? Just running through the chat. Fordham, hell of a win. But yeah, this was a good inaugural Moneyline Mac Top 25 TCE Trim Edition. Real quick, I got to pay the bills on the way out because we have some more sponsors that are great. BetUS, best in the business. Get on over there. More than 30 years, easily deposit, cryptocurrency, lightning fast payouts. I like Air Force here in a couple hours, minus the 11.5. I think it's up to 13.5. Mo Falcons are going to fuck up the Long Island Sharks, Colby's Long Island guys. It's Veterans Day. Get on over there, support the troops. Air Force, Citadel here in a couple hours. Let's go. I'm on both of them. And we're also brought to you by SGPN's proud sponsor, Rhythm. These guys are freaking fantastic, guys. Get on over there and use our promo code SGPN. It's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That is the sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. 7-day free trial. They have these great models, and you can tweak the model based off of how you want to handicap games. If you value offense, defense. I love Rhythm. I can't say enough good things about them and BetUS and Underdog. We have really good sponsors, and especially for college basketball. So, get on over there, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. Robert Martin wants to take Coppin State. Good luck to you guys. Guys, like I said, we're going to do this every single week. We're going to do a reaction show to the top 25. I'll throw out my top 25. I tweet out my top 25 every single Sunday night at Moneyline_Mac on Twitter. So you can respond, tell me I'm a jackass, whatever you want to do. But like I said, you can tell me I'm a jackass, but get on over there to Apple and Spotify and leave us a 5-star review in the process. Anything goes if you leave me a 5-star. It goes a long way with helping grow the show. Love you guys. I appreciate the enthusiasm for the show through the first week. It was a great week over here at the College Basketball Experience. We will be back later tonight, 6 o'clock Eastern. Me, Troy, Capper, breaking down the line movement. We got a couple 6 o'clock games. We'll even react, I guess, to Air Force and Long Island. So get on over there. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, the TCE SGPN on YouTube. The college football experience is over there. They're doing their pick show tonight as well. The FCS experience, the Big 12 experience, a lot of good content coming your guys' way. Go check out the Main Sports Gambling Podcast Network. But this has been another edition of Mac Tonight signing off for a couple hours, I guess. You better start thinking about yours. And we are out of here. Cheers.